Let me get your
Well,
opinion because I want to talk about
okay,
music, but I want to
okay.
get your opinion on some sports stuff because I actually have had several people reach out to me about this. So I was saving it for the show, but a couple of things have happened, especially in the NBA. Number one, LeBron broke the points record,
I did see that. Yep.
the career scoring record. Any immediate thoughts? I know you're a LeBron hater, but do you think this
I
is a
mean,
great accomplishment for him? Do you think it moves him up in the status of being the GOAT? Or do you think it's just another thing that he's done in a long career where he's been good?
it's I don't know. I respect him for it. That's cool, but I kind of look at it too like if you're a really good player, and this is like across all sports, not just basketball, but if you're a really good player and you are able to play at a high level for 20 plus years, like you're bound to break a bunch of like records like that, right? I mean, I
Dude,
understand
he's
this is
he's
like
averaging
the
30 points at 39 years old.
yeah,
That's nuts.
yeah.
It's beyond nuts. No, I'm not saying that as an argument for the GOAT status.
I
I'm
know.
just
I get what you're
saying
saying. Yeah. But also on not such a great team too, right?
bad team. Bad team.
So does that come into play at all?
I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say because he played on bad Cavs teams and did just as well. So it's I don't know. I mean, he's getting a bulk of like everything goes through him, obviously. But like it's pretty impressive. But also just how natural the flow of his game is still at his age. It looks in a lot of ways effortless, which is that within itself is impressive. You got again, I have my criticisms of LeBron. Not to get into the GOAT thing, but I will in a second here because I got asked by someone who listens to the show. But I think the one thing you have to respect about him is that in a lot of ways he's evolved with every year of play. He's found a new thing in his game that he's got a little bit better at each year. He's become a completely and there's one stat that's going around that I think is often overlooked. He's a better 3-point shooter percentage wise than Jordan was in his career.
Really?
That's huge. If you think about all the criticisms about how LeBron is pass first, doesn't want the big shot, so on and so forth, like that's a big stat. But again, that's just.
But okay, but we're talking percentage still, right?
Yeah,
So I don't know I'm wondering what the percentage is of like how many times he's actually shooting threes versus how many times Jordan was shooting threes. If we're talking percentage wise, do you understand what I'm saying?
yeah, I know, it has LeBron taken more than Jordan,
I'm
essentially.
saying I'm saying less, but made more. So his percentage would be higher.
Such a hater. Maybe. I don't know.
That's
I
actually
saw the
not that's not
stat.
a
I saw
hate. That's not a hate on LeBron. That's just a question. I'm not sure. But you said 39 years old. So when how old was Jordan when he retired from the Wizards?
39, 40.
Was he really? Why was I thinking he was older than that?
Let me look. So,
39.
yep, yep.
Really? And doesn't Jordan just seem like he was so much older at
Yeah,
39 than what
he was
LeBron
a
is?
weathered 39.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
what about
yeah.
like let's say Kareem? How old was Kareem when he retired?
I
Who
want to say
recently
around the
had
same. I think
the
he actually.
scoring record.
I think he played till he was older. He was 42 when he retired.
To compare it with age in like another sport, does that impress you more that Tom Brady can play until he's 45 as a quarterback? He's 45, right?
Yeah.
Or does it not like impress you at all? Does that not matter because it's football and not basketball?
No, it's definitely impressive. I think it's different than LeBron doing what he's doing at 39. But no, it's as much as I hate on Brady, and I always will. Yeah, I think it's impressive. But I think it's two different things. Someone that listens to the show, you ask me, because he saw the recent stats about what LeBron's done at his age, and he goes, honestly, I think my mind has changed. I think LeBron's the GOAT. And he's like, think about it. Don't give me like a quick answer. Really think about it. Who's the GOAT? And I gave the same answer I'm always going to give. They're two different players in two different eras. To compare the two is just I feel it can't be done. I think there are things that Jordan did better than LeBron. I think there are things that LeBron does better than Jordan, than Jordan did. But there are two fundamental differences between the two players. And One of them is not championship rings. I don't care about that. The first one is LeBron entered the NBA with the weight of expectations unlike any player in the history of the league. He was being quoted as the GOAT, essentially, from age 14 on, right? On the cover of Sports Illustrated at 16. I mean, he was the chosen one, as they said. No other player in the history of the league has entered with those expectations. Not even Shaq. No one. Not even Kobe. And Kobe got drafted out of high school. Like,
why do you think that is? Like, why was he the chosen one, but no, like, unlike any other player?
I think the God-given, or however, whatever kind of talent he was displaying at a young age, no one had seen it before. They saw a 13-year-old kid that, all things considered, could have played in the NBA at the age of 13. He was doing things that kids his age just weren't unable to do and weren't going to be able to do until they got to college, that type of thing. And there are many other explanations for that. That's fine. That's the first thing. And if you're going to compare the two players, Jordan entered the league with zero expectations. He wasn't a number one pick. He had to work hard and persevere to take the league by storm and then eventually rule it. He had to wait his time. Like, people always talk about Jordan like he's this mythical creature that just was successful overnight. He wasn't.
Yeah.
He lost to the Pistons. He lost to the Celtics. He lost to the Magic. Like, those teams beat him.
Yeah.
So, like, that's a huge difference between the two. And again, I hate bringing this up and sort of being redundant on this idea, but Jordan did not have to play in the social media, hot take, YouTube era of professional sports. And LeBron
I'm gonna throw
came
on
up in
this
it.
too. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna throw this on there too, though. LeBron did not play in a league that Michael Jordan played in either.
What do you mean?
As in, like, if you go back and watch the Last Dance and see like how physical the NBA was at that time, would LeBron be as successful as he
Yes.
is now in that
Yes.
league? You think so?
Yes. He would have adapted. I understand what you're saying, and that argument's cool because I will agree that Jordan's era of play was a lot tougher on those guys versus when LeBron came. Well, when LeBron came in the league, it was still pretty tough. There were still a lot of guys. There were still some like true blue goons in the league, and there were like some bad boys still in the league, and there were some defenses who would rough you up. But no, I agree. I agree with that, but I think LeBron would have adapted. And people make the argument that Jordan couldn't play against the zone, for instance. Like Kobe's, I think, on record being like, yeah, well, Jordan couldn't play against the zone because he didn't have to. That type of thing. Okay. You don't think Jordan would have adapted to his own defense? Really? Does anyone really think that? Like, come on. So I think if you put Jordan in today's game, he would adapt. Because Jordan would hand check like a motherfucker, offensively and defensively. He was a defensive player of the year, but he would fuck you up.
Yeah.
But I think he would have adapted. I think he would have found a way to get it done. So again, you're taking two guys that played different eras, and I think like trying to say who's better than the other, it's like I don't know. I mean, but I think it's incredibly important to acknowledge that LeBron has come up in an era where he is so harshly and inappropriately criticized on giant platforms all day long, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you, LeBron did not handle it well most times. He said some incredibly stupid things, and he's reacted in incredibly stupid ways. But look at what we know about Jordan. How would Jordan have reacted to this stuff? We know now, like most people knew then, that Jordan was fueled by bitterness and grudges and getting revenge on people. Like, he was kind of like a motherfucker. And by motherfucker meaning like, don't go around that dude if he lost. Like, how would
are you telling me that he would go on like if he was around in this, if he was playing in this era, like he would be going on Twitter binges as when he got off the court?
I don't know.
Just like hating on
But I would have loved to have seen Jordan reacting to 24 hours of hot takes about his play, or about his gambling, or about his dad's death, or about his marriage, or about his kids, Like all things that LeBron has had to deal with.
Yeah.
Now, some of those are exclusive to Jordan and some are exclusive to LeBron, but like, what would this Savage have done if
I
a
don't know, but
Stephen A.
I would.
Smith had
But I,
called him
oh, dude,
out?
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
Man, I would love to see a Michael Jordan, Stephen A. Smith Twitter war or something.
I'll tell you what I think would have. I'll tell you what would have happened is Jordan would have been in the same room with the dude and he would have called him a hoe and put him in his place like he did most people.
Man, I haven't
But
heard
it
that
just would
word.
have escalated from there.
When was the last time you heard the word hoe
I love that
in
word.
that sense?
I hadn't heard it in a long time until I watched The Last Dance. And I was like, oh, Jordan called people a hoe? I love it. I
Back
gotta
when
start using
crunk
that
music
more.
was around.
Oh, way before that, dude. Way before that.
No, I mean the last time I heard it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess Free Codes was crunk music, right? Yeah, right. You're right. So I think that's the two biggest differences. And, so at the end of the day, I can't pick one. I really can't. Because I don't want to. Because I think the argument, again, it's kind of a dumb argument because if you're basing it solely off championships, well, that's easy. Anybody could do that. Are you really looking at what happened, though? What happened and when it happened and who it happened against? Because if you're going off championships, fine. Bill Russell's the GOAT. But Bill Russell played against my fucking uncle, the carpenter.
Yeah.
Would have been my great uncle, I think. So the distinction to be made there is almost like, what about everybody else? What about the other guys that have that many titles? What about Kobe? What about Shaq? What about Bill Russell? What about Kareem? But we want to focus on just these two guys. It's like I don't think we can. I don't think we can. So the other thing, not to get too in the weeds with LeBron, because God knows we've done that too many times. Kyrie requests a trade, gets traded in 48 hours. I've never seen that happen before. Never.
So let me. Are you surprised? What's the reason you're surprised? Is it because it's so fast, or
The
team
quickness of
letting
the
go, or
turnaround.
what? Okay.
No, just how fast it happened.
Okay.
Yeah. It almost tells me like the Nets were like, see ya.
Right.
On your way, flat earther. Goodbye.
Or was there stuff kind of in the works before the request was made? I wonder. At least
That's a possibility too. Sure. Yeah. I think all of the above when it comes to that. But
yeah.
Look, I don't want to go down a road of hate on Kyrie because look, at the end of the day, he did help. He has one of the biggest shots in NBA history. It brought me a title, and I will forever savor that moment. I'll never forget where I was, who I was around, how I reacted, so on and so forth. But like, God, he's such a victim all the time. Like he couldn't have just been traded and been like, cool, I'm in Dallas now, let's go. I'm on a team that went to the Western Conference Finals last year and competed against the Warriors. He could have been like, I'm excited to be here. Let's go. Let's go to the finals. Let's do this. But instead, he had to talk shit on the Nets. And it's just like, dude, can't you just like, it's like a lot of, I feel this is very NBA specific. And I know I'm being unfair there, but just recently, that's what I've seen. But I feel like a lot of these guys just need to shut up. Don't answer questions. I'm not saying shut up and dribble. I'm just saying don't answer their questions because it's just going to get you into trouble.
But isn't that like, you say NBA specific, but isn't that kind of like what journalists are
of course
there for? I mean,
of course
they're trying.
You don't have to talk to them though.
I mean,
pull the Barry Bonds, do the fucking yeah. You don't have to talk to him.
Pull the Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll be interested to see. And of course, his first game, Lucas sat out last night, and they won. But like, I mean, I'm going to be interested to see how those two get along and how that.
Hang on. You said works. So it was a 48-hour turnaround, and he was already suited up and playing, like immediately.
He played last night.
So you say, wow.
Yeah. So it just so happened that it worked out that 48 hours later, he was traded. The Mavericks had an off day, and then he played last night. And then the other big one is KD goes to the Suns, which like none of these guys have any pride. Like, let me just go.
It's gonna be really weird seeing him in a Suns jersey. I'm just saying.
Why? Because of the back of his head?
No.
That purple's going to bring out that shitty bald spot he had? Oh, no, it's not it. Okay. Look, I'm forever a Kyrie and KD hitter. I will respect the fact that they are both two of the greatest players of all time. KD right now is top 10 of all time, probably. And I hate saying that. Kyrie's top 20 of all time. But can you just like, what happened to like saying fuck it? Like I want to beat all these guys. It's like, let me go where the situation fits best to where I could. It's like I said, there are no more rivalries. There are no more like grudges in the NBA. It's all just right situation, right time. How do I get close? Like none of these guys fight for what they want. It's ridiculous. Like KD should have been like, all right, Kyrie left. You know what? I'm going to take the Nets to the finals. I'm going to be the guy. But he doesn't have that in him. He's never had that in him. Never.
So
it's a bummer.
Let's think about Michael. If Michael Jordan was in that same situation, say Michael Jordan got traded from the Bulls to somewhere else, does he keep that same mindset of, well, I'm going to take this team to the finals then?
100%. Do you think he went to the Wizards to lose?
And he holds a grudge against the Bulls.
Correct.
And wants to. Yeah.
Kobe wanted to prove that he could win a title without Shaq, and he did it.
Yeah, that's true.
Did he have good pieces around him? Sure. But everybody said, you can't win without Shaq. He fucking did it.
Yeah.
He could have easily left and went somewhere else more favorable to winning a championship than that Lakers team. He could have, but he didn't. That's what I'm saying. Like this era of basketball we're in now, it's just not a lot of rivalries are gone. There's just not a lot of like grudge matches. There's there's no like hostile sort of like rivalry, like bitterness anymore. Everybody's friends. Let me just like, oh, you're going to be in Phoenix next year? Yeah, I'll probably end up there because I'll be requesting a trade.
Do you feel like that's the same across other sports too?
No.
You think there's still?
I don't think so.
In baseball, you think there's still massive rivalries that still hold on?
Oh, sure. Oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yankees, Red Sox will forever be a rivalry. Mets, Phillies, huge. Cardinals, Cubs, obviously. Like that's always going to be a fun. And even if both teams are not, even if one of the teams are not in the running for the playoffs, it's still fun. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other sports. I guess the Blues,
Cowboys, Giants,
or Philly Giants was a major one too.
Yeah, I mean any of the divisional rivalries in the NFL. The Browns and the Steelers, the Browns and the fucking Bengals, like huge.
Yeah.
Seattle, San Francisco, huge. No, so you have those.
I guess hockey, you've still got like St. Louis and Chicago is still a big one.
Blues, Blackhawks.
Oh, speaking of that, did you see that Tarasenko got traded to the Rangers?
Yeah.
It was bound to happen at some point. I'm surprised it didn't.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of been predicted all year. It was just a matter of when. Yeah. So it's unfortunate, but hey, not all the great ones stay, man. Yeah, so I don't know. I will say this: as much as I complain and call these guys like whatever names I want to call them, the playoffs are going to be more interesting with Kyrie in Dallas and with KD in Phoenix, and then a couple of other things have happened too. The Lakers made some moves to get bigger, which they did. There are quite a few things have happened, but two of the teams that were. Because the Mavericks beat the Suns last year in the playoffs to get to the Western Conference Finals. So like two of the main teams in the Western Conference just got better on paper. Now again,
right? How
that Luka Kyrie project works, I will be very curious to see, because the Mavericks did lose. They lost Jalen Brunson. He went to the Knicks, and he was like a huge part of that team last year. And you could tell like the chemistry was a little bit off with him gone. Like Luka's still playing out of his goddamn mind, but I'm gonna be watching. Obviously, rooting for the Cavs first, Celtics second because they have Tatum, and then everybody else. So
that sounds about what I would think Patrick Blair would say.
What?
Cavs first.
Yes, always, and they're good. They're good. They're probably gonna end up being the number 3 seed, maybe. But New York or Brooklyn might tank now because they don't have KD or Kyrie. So we could end up a 2 seed. We'll see what happens.
Speaking of Cleveland, what happens next year for you, NFL wise? Can you tell me?
Like, you want me to make a prediction?
I mean, does it go better than this year did?
God, I hope so. That's such a stupid question to ask a Cleveland Browns fan. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it always could go better. Trust me.
Yeah, I just mean like
I could get run over by a fucking ice cream truck, and that would be better than this season. Trust me.
Is the Deshaun Watson project over already, even though it was only for like 7 games?
No,
No.
no,
You
no,
think he'll
no.
come back a lot better
Yeah,
next
yeah,
year?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He'll come
And
back.
Chubb's still gonna run the ball 500 times a game?
Dude, no, I think they will be better. Yes, they have to improve on defense. They have to fix some things, but no, I think they'll be better.
Wonder what's gonna happen with Brissett? You think he stays as a backup, or you think he goes somewhere else and gets a starting spot?
He'll go somewhere else.
Dude, I am so ready to see what's gonna happen in this offseason. There's gonna be so many freaking quarterbacks going all over
Oh yeah.
and changes happening. It's gonna be crazy.
Well, what is
Like
San Francisco gonna do?
I think so. Jimmy G's gone. Like he's gonna be a free agent.
He will be gone. But it's supposed to be like they have legitimately Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. Like no one really has the job yet.
The
So those two
rumor
have
mill,
to.
the rumor mill is Trey Lance wants out,
Oh wow.
and they're talking, or from what I've heard, he's already talked to the Titans, which I don't know what they would do at Tannehill.
I think Tannehill's done.
I could see that, but
I think if you improve the offensive line there with Derrick Henry, your quarterback does not have to be spectacular.
yeah,
Maybe if you get a younger guy in there, new mindset, maybe that will help.
Carson Wentz, he's already out of Washington pretty much. Matt Ryan is thinking about retiring, or he'll be going
He
somewhere
should.
else. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers is still up in the air on what's happening there.
He's going to lock himself in a cave for 4 days and meditate to
And
find
do
out what he wants to
ayahuasca?
do.
They can do
Douche.
ayahuasca.
What a douchebag. God, I can't stand him.
He basically said that if Green Bay is going to rebuild, he wants nothing to do with it. But
You're going to rebuild.
If they're not going to, then he will stay. It's pretty much what he said.
What does he think they're going to magically get better? They have to add pieces. They weren't good.
Right.
He wasn't good.
Right.
The ego on this guy, I swear.
You got Tom Brady, who he is retiring apparently. So
let me tell you something right now. All right. Here's my hot take prediction for next season. The first concussion that Tua has, Tom Brady's getting the call. Trust me.
Something
they
happened.
had that dude on speed dial. Tom Brady, they've already talked to him. Like, hey, we just want to let you know, stay warmed up. Here's our playbook. Study it a little bit. You don't need to know it fully. When Tua goes down, you're our guy. Guarantee it. Guarantee it.
I still want to know what happened there.
With what?
Because that was supposed to be the thing. Like before he went to Tampa, he was supposed to be in Miami, and Sean Payton was supposed to be the coach.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Hold up.
And then something happened there.
Cut it all. Let's talk about your team. Did you see about Russell Wilson's charity?
No.
So it got reported that whatever his charity is, that's raised hundreds of millions of dollars. Only a quarter of it actually goes to the charity. He takes the rest. He and all of his stakeholders take the rest.
Really?
Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Russell Wilson is the MVP of scamming people with his charity. A ranging report from USA Today published on Wednesday outlined that Wilson's Why Not You Foundation had only donated approximately 40% of its earnings to charity, with the rest going to fundraising and employees' salaries. In total, Russ's foundation received $7.5 million in revenue. All right, hundreds of millions, I was exaggerating, through 2021, but only reported $2.8 million being passed on to any charitable activities. And the expenses of the foundation includes a 6-figure salary for a personal friend of Russa and Sierra Wilson, who is an employee of the foundation, but digging deeper goes further than that. The website for Why Not You doesn't list any employees or a CEO, but does show its board of directors. This is a veritable of who's who of nepotism. Not a single member of the charity's board has a nonprofit background, but rather they all share personal connections to Russ and Sierra. Ouch.
Okay, so I'm not
So the people who profit from this. So here's who profits. Russell Wilson, his wife, Cheryl Willert, Russ's longtime personal lawyer, Larry Estrada, personal friend of Russ, Mark Rogers, his agent, Harry Wilson, his brother, his PR manager, Charlie Martin, former Seahawks receiver who played with Russ, and Scott Pickett, who is Russ's friend. That's who's on the board.
So this isn't
a little
taking
bit sketchy.
this isn't taking the side of anyone. I'm just curious. Anyone who is part of a foundation, or I guess it's their foundation. So like this is Russell Wilson's foundation. How much of a hand do you think he actually has in it? Or do you think other people are just running it?
Well, that's why you have a board of directors. Yes. But obviously you take a cut. It's your
Right.
name. It's your namesake.
Exactly. But
Without you, it doesn't exist.
exactly. So I guess my point is like, do you think that Wilson is out there willingly, not willingly, that's not the word I'm looking for, purposely trying to take the majority chunk of this charity?
I don't know. But I mean, it's interesting that they don't have a CEO listed or anyone sort of running the foundation. That's odd. Usually there's someone who's in charge of, well, look, if you have a large foundation like that that's generating that sort of revenue, you're going to have a CEO, a CFO, a COO, like
Right.
all that stuff. Like none of that is listed. You just have a board of people who are essentially getting a paycheck. But
Did it say what? If you said it, I don't remember. What's the charity for?
it's a kids foundation.
But like specifically for
It's a nonprofit dedicated to education, children's health, and fighting against bullying.
isn't anti-bullying charities weird? Like what are they doing to keep kids from getting bullied?
Fucking going to schools and rounding up bullies and incinerating them in a in a fucking furnace. I have no idea.
I
I have
mean,
no clue.
I've seen like the WWE.
It's all
Okay.
about education.
For
That's what
instance,
it is.
yeah,
Like,
they
yeah, I
do
mean,
like anti-bullying campaigns where I think they go to like schools and stuff and they talk about it and stuff like that, but
yeah.
that's just odd.
I mean,
I mean, if it works, that's great. I'm just saying it's weird to put I don't know, weird to put money towards anti-bullying. It just seems weird to me.
take it from someone who got bullied a lot. I don't know what kind of person I'd be if I didn't get bullied. I think about it a lot, for real. I mean, it's made me
If you had a bunch if like every year you had assemblies where at your school where people came in and talked about how bullying is bad,
yeah.
think it would have changed the culture in your school? Do you think you would have been bullied less?
No. Honestly, no. Where I went to school, no.
That's
Because
kind of what I
you got to understand what I'm talking about here. You have a group of underprivileged kids mixed in with a bunch of overprivileged kids. So there was like picking and choosing of who would be bullied and who. I was psychologically bullied more than I was physically, which is a motherfucker. I'm not going to get into it on this podcast, but believe me, it goes deep, dude. Physically speaking, I got one confrontation and I punched the kid, and I immediately because I grew up in a neighborhood where like if you fight back, right?
Yeah.
But I was always like waiting for the moment that would actually happen where I went to school. But I was also scared too because I didn't want to get kicked out because I knew I would get in trouble and get punished by my parents. Blah 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 blah. But my last year at this one school, I had enough, and this kid he didn't like punch me, but he like did like sort of like a push to my throat, and I just popped a right hand over the top of him, hit him good, and he came like he couldn't believe it. He was like, I can't believe this fucking dude hit me. And he came and like tried to, double leg me or tackle me or whatever. And I immediately like sprawled on top of him and we were like fighting and I got in trouble. And my fucking principal like threatened to like not let me get into the high school I already had been accepted to and like all this shit. I hated that place so much. How dare you make me talk about it? God, I fucking hated that place. But yeah, it was more psychological, which again just runs. And this, and you're probably thinking like, well, how was that possible? Like there was no social media, there was no, like it was weird. We can talk about it off the podcast. Take up a lot of your time. So yeah, as someone who, yeah, I just think like there's a lot of education around it, but I think like every kid's different too. That's the problem. You have kids like that were in my situation where we're like, they'll put up with it, but for not because they're afraid that like of the people or of the bullying or of the bully. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I was always like, I wish one of these motherfuckers would hit me. And I don't even care if I get my ass kicked, but I'm gonna get one good shot at.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't tough then, I'm not tough now, but I'm like, I will fight back. Like I wanted it so often, I wanted it to get physical, to like give me a reason to finally like lose it, you know? With the psychological stuff, it's like you have to pick your battles. You have to like be careful. And it was always like a numbers thing. So like if I had reacted to something, there would have been 3 against 1. Like we didn't do that. He's lying. Like, fuck you. I give up. Just like,
Yeah.
like that whole thing. So like, but again, I'm not complaining about it. I think it made me who I am today. I think it definitely put me in a good position to raise my kids a certain way
Yeah.
to be able to deal with it. So, but I often do think about like, what if I didn't deal with that shit? What if I went to public school and not private school and was with all of my neighborhood friends, you know, in that circle of friends and that bubble of like, all is good because I'm with my friends, I'm with my people, and I have everything I want. That wasn't the case every day. Every day I woke up, I'm like, I fucking hate this. What's gonna happen today? Like,
So somehow you're turning this around to say that bullying was actually a good thing for you?
I think so. Yeah. For me, no one else. I don't want anyone to be mistaken right
And
now.
just
I'm not saying bullying is good, but for me, I think in a lot of ways it was. But again, it was because it was psychological, not physical.
so it kind of kept
Okay.
you in check.
Well, it made me think about how am I eventually going to get out of this? How am I eventually going to retaliate? How am I eventually going to get the upper hand? Which was always my main goal. And always like my master plan. Like eventually one day this is going to come back around, that type of thing. So, and the fucked up part was, this was by people who, all things considered, were my friends on the surface.
I need to go back a little bit though to ask a question. You
Oh
said that the
shit.
principal threatened for you to not be able to go to a high school that you were accepted to. What the
Well, the
hell
high
does
school I went to, yeah.
you said accepted to? What does that mean? You had to be
Well, I went,
accepted to private
yeah,
schools.
yeah. I went to a private high school, and you had to be accepted. So your grades had to be good enough. You had to get enough like exemplary remarks from your teachers, your
So what happens if you
institution.
don't? Do you have to go to public school?
No, you can apply to a
Public high
different
school?
one. No, you can apply to as many as you want, but if you don't get into any of them, yeah, you go to public school. That's the way it works.
City's
Yeah.
so weird.
That's not necessarily a city thing as much as it's a private school.
I
If you
gotcha.
live in an area with private schools, that's what it is. I mean, it's private for a reason. You have to prove that you are worthy of going,
Gotcha.
right? So, but yeah, no, she pulled me after that fight. We both got pulled into her office. We're both sitting there next to each other. I so badly just wanted to elbow that cunt to his face. But sitting next to each other, and she called each of us in, and he was going to go to public school. My school was literally on the same street as the public high school of the city where I was going to school.
So what you're saying
He
is
was
he
going to
didn't
go
give a
there.
shit anyways.
No, fuck no, no. And there was also like 3 weeks of school left, and you know, but he knew he was going to go to public school because that's where he lived, and he didn't want to go to private school, and whatever, doesn't matter. So, but she pulls me in. She was just like, give me the whole. I mean, this is a nun, by the way, but the whole runaround about how acting out and this and that, and I wasn't really receptive to anything she was saying because I'd had it with that place. I was ready to get the fuck out. I fucking hated every day, every moment of it. And she kind of looked at me. She was like, "Do you think that you have it made right now?" And I was like, "Excuse me." I don't remember what I said, but she's like, "Don't think that I won't call. I won't say his name, but the principal of your school. Don't think that I can't get you to stop from going there. Stop you from going there, blah, blah, blah." I just sat there in silence and, okay, I don't really want to go there anyway, lady. Fucking do it, please. Please. Call them and then call my
You
parents and say,
you were
he's not
you were
going anymore.
you were being bullied by the principal.
I know this fucking nun, crazy nun, bullied the fuck out of me, didn't she?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. Yeah, I really wanted to be like, please, I don't want to go there either. Call them and say he can't come and then call my parents. Tell them to come pick me up right now. Like, for real. I don't care. I hated it. For me, I think I had to go through that and all the other bullshit that I went through that I won't talk about. But how did we get there? Oh, your boy Russell Wilson is
Yeah.
stealing money from kids. Yeah.
Yeah. My overall take on that is, as I said, I wonder how much his hand is actually in it, or if he's just there and money
Yeah.
is put in his account from it
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
his name's on it. You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel you. I mean, I think no, it's hard to say. And like the people like accusing him, it's like, well, do we really know? Let's give him somewhat of a break, but I don't
The,
know.
the whole charity thing is it's so up and down because you never know where money's going by giving
No.
money to a charity. You're pretty much just blindly doing it. What's the um What's the one around Christmas time that everybody says is such a scam?
I don't know. Apparently, the
Uh,
one that I heard that is the biggest scam is the Wounded Warriors Project.
yeah, I heard about that one
Very
too.
small percentage of that money goes to actual
Yeah.
veterans, and yeah, yeah.
What's the one? What's the one that the Santas ring the bell outside of Walmart or whatever for?
Oh shit.
I
It's
think
the
I thought I heard that that one was pretty
I don't know.
shady
Well,
too. But
how dare they? That's terrible. You know how much money I've given them over the years?
no,
Probably about 25 quarters. Those
I was gonna
fuckers.
say, is that only because you felt bad,
No.
or you really wanted those quarters to go to the
Just
charity?
drop change in there and call it a day.
You had change in your pocket that you didn't want.
Yeah. Let's talk about some music before we get out of here.
Okay.
You know, I wanted to talk about the Grammys, but I feel like, God, it's such a dead conversation. The same
You know,
conversation every year. It's like,
I wish
do
I
we
wish I
really
knew
care?
that, I wish I knew we were gonna bring up the Grammys because Finn McKenty put out an episode
I saw it.
today I think about basically saying that it gets worse every year. I just got that from the title. I didn't actually get a chance to listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think his biggest takeaway, and it's been my biggest takeaway, and not saying that we have parallel thinking by any means, because but like I feel like rock and metal are so categorically misrepresented by the Grammys every year. Like I don't feel like whoever is making the decisions and choosing the nominees, they don't have any idea of what's going on in rock music or metal at all. So when they end up giving the award out, you're like, huh? Like God bless Ozzy for winning best rock album, but like Finn said, he's like, I think that's like a lifetime achievement award because Ozzy never won anything before. Black Sabbath never won it. They never won before, so like they felt bad. So here you go, because we know you're not going to like tour anymore. So here you go. Well, that's not right. That's not
Yeah.
right. That's not doing right by Ozzy, and that's also not doing right by the other nominees. But again, none of this shit matters. It's a fucking participation trophy. Like you're being rewarded
I
for
mean it.
your
I mean it is, but I don't think it was what award show were we talking about with Al Coretta when he was on? It was a
was it
music
music related?
award. Yeah, I thought so, but I think it was the same concept. It was like that they don't really know what's going on, and it doesn't really make sense on who's getting awards for different things. Um,
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, no, I think
the other thing was a part of that though was I was asking like, does it even matter to get an award in any kind of category for this? And you guys said that it definitely builds your resume.
sure, I agree with that. Yeah,
Does a
definitely.
Grammy do the same? Does a Grammy do that?
Yeah,
Does that help you by winning that award? Do you get more downloads? Do you get more streams? Do
I
you get
think
more
so. Yeah,
buys
yeah.
for a week?
I think for a long time because you're
A
forever
long
going to
time?
be known as Grammy Award winning such and such. It's an
Okay.
industry thing, but again,
Yeah. Yeah.
music consumers don't think about it the same way that you and I constantly talk about it. So for instance, MGK was up for best rock album, right? So if that album wins, he forever is going to be known as Grammy Award winning artist Machine Gun Kelly. And that's going to not only satisfy his fans, but for those people who were sort of teetering on the edge of like, do I like this guy? Do I not like this guy? Oh, he won a Grammy? Let me go ahead and check it out. Because they can think about like, well, fuck, who's won Grammys? Like Adele, Beyonce's won a Grammy. Like all these people win Grammys, so MGK must be like legit. It's just what it means to people who aren't in the know. And I'm not disrespecting, believe me, I'm not saying that music fans are stupid. But look, it wouldn't be an industry and it wouldn't be a business if people didn't think about what they were buying and people didn't think about what they were listening to. I'm just saying.
Can you explain that a little more? What do you mean by if they didn't think about what they were listening to?
It's big business. Okay, listen. It's big business because consumers don't often need to be heavily persuaded to buy something or to listen to something. They need just a
Okay,
little bit
so
of push. So if you tell the average consumer, the average listener of music that this person won a Grammy, they're going to go, well, that must mean something.
I gotcha.
They
Okay.
don't dig into it like you and I do.
Gotcha.
They don't think about it that way. They don't dig into it like Finn McKenty does. Right.
Yeah. Okay. That
So
makes
and they're not reading music blogs, they're not reading Loudwire, they're not, they're not searching for shit like that. They go, I just want something that tastes like bubble gum or close enough, and that's it. And the Grammys will give that to you. They've proven that. So, but don't get me wrong, dude. Like, somebody called me like, "Hey, you're nominated for a Grammy." I'm like, "Cool, I'll be there."
Was
I'm
there
gonna
anyone
wear my best black T-shirt
in my skinny jeans
and my jeans, and
my backwards black hat? And
I'll
we're
be
ready
drunk,
to go.
and we'll have a good time.
Was there anybody that won a Grammy that you were like, cool, I'm glad they won? Like,
Not that I can think of. No, I mean Kendrick won Best Rap Album, which I thought was cool. Was it better than the other ones nominated? Probably, but I mean, had anyone else won that, I would have been like, okay, yeah, sure. Maybe not Jack Harlow, because I'm not a fan. I don't get it. I don't get the appeal. If Turnstile had won Best Rock Album, that would have been cool. Cool to see, because they got shit on for the way they looked on the red carpet. Did you see this picture?
Pull it up. I want to see it.
Rolling Stone wrote like a whole like half article about it. Like, so instead of talking about their music, you're talking about the way they looked at the Grammys. You suck,
Right.
Rolling Stone. On the red carpet at the Grammys.
Okay.
I love it. I am not mad at it one bit.
I'm just not sure.
Yeah, you're not sure what's going on, right?
Yeah. The guy in the blue looks like he may be in Ted Lasso,
This guy.
or he may be in what's that? Never mind. I can't think of what the name of the show is.
All right, let's stop. Let's stop.
Oh.
Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's just stop. The Grammys, again, I pay attention only because I love to be shocked every year at how bad it gets. And this year wasn't too bad. I'm not going to lie. There have been worse years. But like Best Rock Song, Brandy Carlisle won. It's like, what? Is that rock? Do you even know that song?
I don't. What is it?
Dark Horses or something. It's a country song. It's not a rock song.
Hey, another Tommy Lee nude photo.
I don't care.
I just seen a
Dude's always pulling his dick out. So
you would be too if you were Tommy.
So yeah, this best rappers in rock music. I thought this was funny, maybe interesting, as chosen by the band Oxymorons, not necessarily Loudwire. And for those of you, if you want to know, you can go find this on Loudwire, and you'll find a video for Oxymorons. Song's called Enemy. It's pretty good. Not bad. So anyway, Travie McCoy, Gym Class Heroes. When's the last time you heard that name? Or those two names?
It's been a while.
He is good, though. So I would agree with this pick of him being in the top 10. Pharrell Williams, what are we even talking about? NERD is not a rock band. So what are we even doing?
And would you even consider him a rapper?
That's a good point. Yeah, he's a rapper.
You think so?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But NERD is not a rock group by any means.
Yeah.
I like him and I like NERD, but I don't understand that. Mike Shinoda, I think that's an obvious one.
I like that one.
Black Thought from the Roots. Again, I love the Roots and I love Black Thought, but they're not a rock band. They're a hip hop band. So I don't really understand that. But I guess like they have rock influence, so we can put them in. I don't know. Fine. Zach from Rage, obviously, should be in there. So this is an interesting one. MC Ride from Death Grips. They're actually coming to the factory in June, and I might go. But they're like a experimental hardcore hip hop electronic band. Very, very off the wall, very cool. But when it comes to hip hop and he actually like MCing, I think he's really good. So I like that pick. That's a good like sort of out of nowhere pick by them. Ice-T, Body Count, sure. Gotta love Ice-T. How do you?
Yep.
Can't hate on Ice-T, right? Be Real and Send Dog from Cypress Hill. Now, again, a lot of rock songs, but are they a rock band? I would say no, but I'm not too mad at it. I saw both of them at the airport at LAX. I like shit my pants. I was like, oh my God, it's Be Real and Send Dog. I like nudged somebody. I was like, oh my God. They're gonna say something to him. I'm like, fuck no, I'll piss my pants. Chino, this is a terrible pick. Chino rapped on 3 songs his entire career. This is a terrible. I don't get that. I love Chino. Deftones are top 3 bands of all time for me, but I don't understand this.
Yeah, I'm not understanding really.
Not a good pick. What does it say? Chino is huge for putting it all together. Rap screams and wild dramatic tenor voice of his. He effortlessly glided between all three throughout the Deftones records, and his influence on the merging of rock and rap is so apparent decades later. Massive respect for Chino and his music. Well, that I agree with, but he doesn't rap.
Right.
He's rapped very little. Sonny's a great one.
I like that one.
Great one. And if you go back to earlier POD before they blew up, he's got some really, really good songs that he rhymes on that aren't necessarily rock heavy. They're more sort of like Latin, kind of like jam songs, if you will. I'm not describing it well, but yeah, he's a good pick. So I'll say there are a few people missing from this.
Is Papa Roach on here?
Jacoby's not on here. So he does rap. I wasn't going to say him. I could see why you would want him. And I don't disagree. He probably should be. But so there are a few people for me missing on here. The first one, you're not going to know who it is, but his name's Carly Coma. He's in a hardcore band called Candiria. They were like second wave. They were like the second wave of New York hardcore in the early 2000s. As an MC, when he actually rhymed, so good. I think he should be on the list, especially if you put MC Ride on the list. Like, Carly Coma's got to be on the list. I'm going to surprise you right now. Fred Durst should be on the list. Swear to God. I think he should. If you go back to earlier Limp Bizkit, like the song he did with Method Man and a lot of those earlier tracks that, again, dropped a lot of their like heavy guitars and allowed him to kind of like flow. Not bad. And if we're talking about rock bands, like, he's pretty good. And I'm really going to surprise you with this next one. I think if we're talking about rappers and rapping for a rock band, you really have to have Shifty and Epic from Crazy Town on this list.
Okay.
They were really good rhymers for a rock band.
Yeah,
People are going to disagree with me right now, but go back and listen. I'm telling you.
Did you listen to anything after that one big album?
Gift of Game?
The Gift of Game. Did you listen to anything after that?
Fuck no.
I tried, dude, and I can't.
But I'm not going to lie. I want to now.
I can only get through about like the first half of that Gift of Game album also.
The first half is really good. Second half, not so much.
Actually, I tried to get there to listen to more of him because Shifty was on Finn McKenty's podcast not too long ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty good episode, but it was more about Shifty talking about basically getting sober.
Getting sober, yeah.
Yeah,
if there's anybody that soaked up the LA lifestyle, it was him.
Yeah.
For sure. Can you think of any other? So you said Jacoby, that's a good one. And he did rap a lot, and he still does. Doesn't he rap on their newest single?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about the newest single, but I mean, yeah, he does quite a bit.
I'm trying to think. Who are we missing?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of rock bands, and then yeah, I mean, I was surprised that you said Fred Durst, but now that I think about it, I agree.
The boss now was stranded in the land of the lost. I think he should be on there, man. But think about the influence he had too. You know, like undeniable. And again, I love Chino and I love Deftones, but put him in there over Chino. But again, it's this band's list. I get it. Whatever.
Can the Chili Peppers be considered a rap at all?
He raps, sure. Anthony raps, yeah. Especially early on.
Yeah.
Like Uplift Mofo Party Plan. Have you ever listened to that record?
Probably.
It was produced by George Clinton. So it's nothing but funk and hip hop and yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Now you can put them on there. I wouldn't put him in the top 10, but sure, whatever.
Yeah.
I wonder what happens. I've never Googled this before. Rappers and rock bands.
Yeah, I bet that pulls up quite a few that we haven't thought of. I would think so.
You know, Hollywood Undead, any of those guys.
Yeah.
I could see that. Well, fuck me. You know who we're not even talking about? And they started as a goddamn rock band. Fucking Beastie Boys.
I thought about that a while ago.
So MCA has to be in the top 10. MCA was dope. Gorillaz, that's a good one. Kid Rock will never do it. Thousand Foot Crutch. Do they rap?
Oh, they do. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know much by them besides they're big.
Yeah,
Their
me
big
neither.
songs.
Flowbots, that's a good one.
I totally forgot that was a band.
ICP,
Are they? How are they? They're not considered rock, are they?
I guess people
It
call
would
them a
just
rap
be
rock
a rap
duo.
a rap group. I thought.
How about Bloodhound Gang? Now we're just getting silly. This is a good one if you think about it. 21 Pilots.
I'd give him that. Yep,
He raps quite a bit.
he does. Yeah.
Primer 55 is a good one. 303. Oh,
Again,
Vanilla
I wouldn't
Ice.
consider that a rock band though.
Yeah, they're more of a pop band. Same with Family Force 5. I guess it's more, well, Family Force 5 is, I would say the main ones I would put over what we just read: Fred Durst, Carly Coma, and Shifty and Epic from Crazy Town. Those would be my picks. Super Bowl, who you got? Because the next time we talk, we'll have a winner.
This has been hard to choose this year. A lot of it for me has to do with Mahomes' ankle, but I don't know. I in the second half of the season swore that Philadelphia was overrated and that their record didn't really like the record said they were better than they actually were.
Yeah.
Now they're going into the Super Bowl. So
I'm going Kansas City.
I'm rooting for KC. I'm hoping, but I tell you why, and I don't know if I told you this through text or not, but I've never been a Philadelphia fan in general. I've just never had a reason to be a Philadelphia fan, really. But I don't like the way that the team, I guess not all of the team, but the coach also, like how they act on the sidelines. Like Nick's Soriano,
Yeah.
however you say his last name. So there was one game, I don't know if it wasn't this last game, I think it was the game before, that the camera got a close up on the coach for Philadelphia and he literally started dancing in front of the camera. That just pissed me off. I don't care if you're winning at all. If you're a coach, that to me that's unprofessional that you're doing that in front of the camera. I understand I understand being happy and celebrating and stuff like that, but a lot of the players do that on the sidelines too.
Yeah.
And I think they're very ego driven, which I guess being a football player you need to be. But I don't know. I think you save that stuff for the locker room.
Yeah, I could see being bothered by that. If I had seen it, I would be pissed.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it. So I'm going to go Chiefs 24-17. I think the Chiefs defense or defensive line is going to get after Hurts a lot. And I think Mahomes is going to be healthy enough to figure it out.
That was going to be my question. Do you think that KC's O-line is going to be able to hold Philly back enough to not hurt him?
Yeah, I think so.
Did you happen to notice any this year, especially towards the end of the season, that a lot of the special plays that Mahomes pulls off, like the little flick throws and stuff like that, are starting to be deflected a lot more?
Yeah, when he's less mobile.
Okay, maybe that has to do with it too. But I'm wondering, like I think Mahomes is a fantastic quarterback, and he's probably
a wizard, dude.
He is a wizard, but
He's a wizard.
I'm just wondering, like I've noticed, I've seen like some of the crazy stuff that he comes up with and does is it just seems like players are starting to kind of figure it out a little bit.
I think that's hard to determine and hard to like track with actual statistics,
Yeah, it probably is. You're probably right.
But you might be right. But you could absolutely be right. I did see several times against the Bengals where he tried to make those plays and the Bengals, I don't know if they knew it was coming. I think it was just look, dude, those plays are fluke plays and they work in his favor a lot of the times. But you got to understand, a fluke play is going to work against you a number of the times too. Like when you go against the grain and you do something like that, all things considered, unless you're Patrick Mahomes, you got to expect the worst. No other quarterback makes those plays work.
That's true.
He's just had a habit of making it happen. But he's got good players around him too, man. He doesn't do that shit. Dude, if he has mediocre offensive players around him, he doesn't make those plays. He's getting picked off more. They're getting batted down more, because guys are less likely to be like, you got to understand too, like he makes those plays because guys are getting open for him.
Yeah.
Little flick passes and the underhand passes and the sidearm throws, and he's not really doing those into tight windows necessarily.
Yeah.
He has on occasion, but like he's not. So like it's all about the guys around him. Like they make him as good as he is.
Yeah.
I give that whole team and the coaching staff all the credit in the world. Like for them to be back in the Super Bowl again, like dude, when they lost Tyreek Hill, everybody was like, it's over. The offense is going to go to shit. Not so much.
So this is Mahomes' 5th year in the league,
5th or 6th, but
and
it's
he's
his
been in the Super
4th
Bowl.
straight NFC or AFC championship, right?
Yeah, and this is his 3rd Super Bowl, right?
Won one, lost one. Yeah, 3rd. Yeah. Yep.
That's pretty insane.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's Brady-esque. It's Brady-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess this is the first time in Super Bowl history we have 2 non-white quarterbacks.
Is that really?
Yep.
I think it's also the first time that 2 brothers have faced each other in the Super Bowl too, isn't it?
Who cares? That's less of a story. Let's go back to mine. That's more interesting.
Why?
Who cares?
Why is that less of a story?
Who cares? Fuck the Kelseys. Those fucking oafs. Those fucking ogres. Who cares?
Straight